One of the gravest threats to press freedom today is the decline of democracies around the world. Rising authoritarianism puts grave pressure on independent media, on the safety of journalists, and on the ability of those with great economic power to translate that into political power. This is inseparable from the power that corporations leading the race for artificial intelligence development are playing in the politics in the US, in China, and every country around the world. So I don't think that we can separate out the rise in authoritarianism from the rise of AI systems that threaten to undermine both the economic viability of journalism, which of course is essential to press freedom, as well as the pernicious impacts that AI is having on critical thinking, on education, on our ability to exert independent judgment. In my experience, journalists have a fundamental role to play in helping to combat propaganda and what many term disinformation today, but they cannot do it alone. When journalists and fact checkers engage in trying to correct the record, investigating and reporting on empirical reality, they need to be backed up by an information system that ensures that quality information is not only visible and rises to the top, but also that it is monetizable and that algorithmic systems don't de-amplify or de-platform these types of critical information intermediaries. So while we can do a lot on our own, we absolutely need public policy and platform policy that enable these fact checks, this efforts against disinformation, the supply side of quality information to exist in our information ecosystem. First would have to be breaking up the power that trillion-dollar corporations have over the information ecosystem. Between the power of Silicon Valley tech giants like OpenAI, Google, Meta, and the power of Chinese-backed AI firms, we are trapped in a really dangerous so-called race for AI development, although we don't know exactly what we're racing towards. So I think we need to break up the power of these companies, in part because that translates into political power, which means that they can insist on no regulation, they can equate regulation with censorship, but also because it means that we don't have choices as consumers, as media, on how to reach our audiences, on how to produce and distribute information. So first off, break up big tech. Second, I think we have to make AI firms pay for data as a core input into their AI systems. Right now, these companies are spending literally billions of dollars and raising billions of dollars in capital while paying for cloud, for talent, for chips, and yet they are not paying for data, content, which is the critical input for these large language models. And we know that because they don't pay for content and data, that this means that the information industries like journalism and the creative sectors are not going to remain sustainable, that the humans that create the information and creativity that humanity has depended on our entire existence will no longer be viable. So we must enforce the idea and the practice that these companies should pay for the data that they're using to build, train, and operate their models and AI systems. Third, we need rigorous antitrust enforcement and competition policy so that we can have alternatives to big tech or Chinese surveillance with companies that want to compete on privacy or compete on a different business model than surveillance capitalism. We want to see companies that are committed to journalism as a core institution of democracy instead of those that are committed to undermining journalism by refusing to pay for data.